Change can be one of the hardest things you ever go through, but it doesn't have to be. Again, it can be, but doesn't have to be. And to be honest, we've all gone through it more times than we wanted to and dealt with it more than we ever wanted to. I think I just repeated myself there, didn't mean to though. Anyway, the bottom line is that change can be a very harsh thing to deal with when things don't go according to plan. Now, I know things won't always work out for you in life, but when somebody either dies or decides that they're not gonna go down the same path as you wanted them to, and you may not always be next to each other, like you were, like a childhood friend you've been with and all the way through elementary, middle, and even high school, and possibly even college. But after college, or say after high school, hell, sometimes even earlier than that, they decide they're going to go down a different route, but say they still want to be friends with you. And obviously, time can pull people apart. And that's where we got to learn the lesson of not everybody in our lives who we love and we hold dear so much, they're not meant to stay in our lives forever. It's not about the fact, how long they were in our lives, but how we spent that time with them. Goodbye doesn't mean anything. How we spent our time together is what matters, not how we left it. The immortal words of Trey Parker, co-creator of South Park, also the voice of Cartman, Stan, and several other male characters in the show. Sorry, but that's besides the point. Basically, what I'm saying is, change can be a hard thing, a very hard thing to deal with, but it doesn't have to be as hard as you're probably making it out to be. Just because someone goes down a different path in life doesn't mean you had to completely cut them out of your life. Long distance can be a hard thing to do, but if you really try, if you really love someone that much, whether it be romantically or even just one of the best buddies you ever had, if you really love someone, you can make it work. And as cheesy as that might sound, it's true. Most people gave up because they didn't want to keep trying. Trying was just too much for them. But if we never try, how do we ever know? Who knows what could have happened if we kept trying? What if it fizzled out and it failed? Hey, again, at least no one can say you didn't try. You can hold on to that hope knowing that if you try again, you may get that same feeling one day. And hell, hope's all some people got in this life. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people really think about. Hope, belief, faith, that's all some people got, and some people don't realize how much they really got themselves. And when something changes that and takes that away, yeah. What I'm saying is, change doesn't have to be as hard as you think it is. Just because something didn't happen as soon as you wanted to do, doesn't mean that it can't still happen. Just because someone's no longer in your life doesn't mean that you can't still live yours. And just because someone lives farther away from you and you didn't want them to, doesn't mean that you can't still make things work. Romantically, through a friendship, vice versa, however you might do that, you know what I mean. You never know. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm here to talk about today. And basically go over a two-parter finale of a show I used to watch when I was a kid and a show that I still love now and will always hold a special place in my heart. That and its brother and sister shows, Total Drama Island and Stoked. Shows I used to just binge watch over and over and over again during the holidays when I was a kid back in the mid to late 2000s. God, those were the days. Like, those were the motherfucking days right there. That was. Yeah. So, yeah, going over the finale of 16. God, do I miss me some 16. Some good afternoons after school, and again, some awesome days during the holidays. And man, yeah. But again, that's kind of what this episode revolves around is the better days and good times of our lives. Don't be sad that it's over. Be grateful that it happened. I think I said that in another video. It was about Team Crafted and some of the more, I guess you say, better days of YouTube. Again, don't be sad that it's over. Be grateful that it happened. And I know I just said that, but again, it bears repeating. It's the fucking dollar store. That one's for you, Mom. But yeah, pretty much the ending, bye bye Nikki, one and two, is basically about, again, what I just started talking about, change and how hard it can be, but again, it doesn't have to be. You don't need to forcefully make it harder to accommodate what people say is reality or that's life or no. Life doesn't have to be harder than, people say it is, as hard as people say it is. It's honestly not. There are ways you can make it better and still get what you want. Again, this might take some time, might take some more effort than You just take some effort and probably more than you think you can put into. Again, you only think you can put into, but there's so much more to it than that. It's hard, but you can do it. You really can. So, without further ado, let's get into it, guys. Sorry about all the pauses in this video. Sometimes I have trouble breathing while recording these. So, yeah. So, basically, getting back to what I was saying, God, the first of the two episodes basically starts off with, again, like I said, them all sitting at the lemon, talking to each other about something stupid, like most of those episodes start out as Nikki reveals to them that, well,
Well, it won't be my world for much longer. Not if my dad has anything to do with it. What are you talking about? My family might be moving. What?
You're moving away? Moving away?
Looks like Dad's got a job interview tomorrow, and if he gets it, we'll have to move up north next week.
Oh, no.
yeah. Yeah, I've been through that before. Namely, I was the one moving, motherfucker. But still, though, she reveals this to them, all to their shock and dismay. None of them wanting her to leave, as well, you wouldn't want any of your friends to leave. All pretty heartbroken, except Jones, he seems pretty fazed by it, but at the same time seems to be a little bit in denial, like this doesn't bother him. Although as the episode goes on, we start to see this less and less, as he starts to slowly start to, well, I don't want to say lose his mind, but he does start to lose his shit as it goes by, as they do the whole cartoon thing that only really happens in cartoons, because this would never work in real life. No, not trying to diss anyone's imagination or determination or anything like that. I know words I'm looking for right there. Where they do everything they can to desperately, dress up as that person they're trying to get to not do something, trying to talk to their bosses or employers, or I think I just repeated myself there, you get the point, and other people in their lives to basically not to get them to not make that decision that would ultimately hurt them and their friendship. But ultimately, it doesn't actually work as much as they think, and if anything, it backfires on them even more. Pretty comically. As the harsh reality more starts to sink in that this may not work, and well, as the harsh reality more starts to sink in that this may not work, and, well, it might just be inevitable that this might really be goodbye. Nikki doesn't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And, well, it might just be inevitable that this might really be goodbye. Nikki doesn't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And, well, who would really want to go through that, to be honest? You want these people around, but you want these people around you always, but Nikki obviously has responsibility to her parents, like obviously to stay with her family, as, seems that he got a new job offer. One that he's definitely busted his ass for. Feeling that she can't do this to her parents, but also still stuck in the middle, being that she can't leave her friends. She's in a bind, not really knowing what to do, but knowing she probably doesn't have much of a choice, which is exactly what change is. You don't really have a choice in the matter, but you don't really want to have to do it. It's like when I lost my dad. I didn't want that to happen, but again, not really much of a choice. This isn't like deciding to change colleges, There's no bringing somebody back once they're gone. And it's hard, but it's true, though. So it's definitely a case of what am I supposed to do here? Because you don't want to have to face the harsh reality. You want to have that hope that things will go the way you want them to. And could you really hope for anything else? What else would you even want at that point? You don't want to have to go down the harsh route that doesn't really do you any good and really just breaks your heart even more. Yeah, there's some good to it, but it doesn't really outweigh the heartache. And we've all been through this more times than we can count. Most of us at least have. I know there's probably some younger folk out there who probably haven't, but you all should know what I'm talking about. Tori, you especially. Love you, baby doll. But you know what I'm saying, though. We've all been through it. We all just hate it. We all knew how bad it sucks. So all of us can, well, maybe not, again, not all of us. Damn, why do I keep tripping over my own words? But most of us can probably sympathize with Nikki's situation, especially if you've ever had to move. Definitely far away, maybe even out of the country. Or even if it's just just a state over if you live in the United States. Or hell, Providence if you live in Canada and vice versa. It's not easy being so far away from people you love, and it's not like I had a choice in the matter. And it's like, well, you need to get over it, or, oh, well, it is what it is. That doesn't make this shit any easier. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean you're just gonna stop caring. And doing that to yourself is not healthy. Letting other people do that to you is not healthy. But what else can you do? And her friends go out of their way so desperately to make sure she doesn't move away. They love her so much that they just can't stand to be away from her. And the lengths they go to are honestly it's heartwarming. It really is. Just again, it's supposed to be comically stupid, and that's kind of the point because the show's obviously supposed to be like a teenage sitcom, obviously, hence the name and shit like that. But if you really think about it, it's like, again, it's like the length that anybody, if you really love someone, the lengths that they go for that person, or that you would go for that person, just to see them be okay. And even though they know there's probably a chance that it more than likely won't work, and they only have a million to one chance of making it happen, they still go out of their way to make it happen. Even if they don't win in the end. And that right there is a true mark of friendship. That's a true sign of love. That's loyalty. And we don't really get that in today's cartoons. Mostly what we get are friends either being assholes, being loud, or treating the other one like they don't matter, or just treat them like dirt and calling it a joke. They legit went out of their way to do everything they could to make sure their friend didn't have to move away. Jonesy was so in denial, he kept coming up with excuses that even if we didn't see him that way at first, that, oh, like, I'm just not the emotional type, or this or that, or da 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 da, or what did he say exactly? Yeah, that. And pretty much you start to see him just go through the notions of just, coming to terms with the harsh reality, but at the same time, there's that part of him that's trying to prevent it. And that's pretty much what denial is, trying to just ignore a harsh reality and pretend it's not there. Or in this case, trying to prevent it from ever happening, knowing that that's not how it works. Yeah. And yeah, I've been there before myself. Anybody else? Sure you have. Throw it down out there in the comment section. I'd like to hear it. So we cut into the next episode again with the group at the Lemon. As they've all pretty much, it seems, that they're coming to terms with the fact that their mission failed and this might really be it. Nikki really is moving away. And again, this is where it's the most heart-wrenching thing anyone had. I mean, not the most heart-wrenching thing, but this is like the thing right before basically the climax of the situation. The most heart-wrenching part is when that person actually leaves or when the thing actually happens, but it's basically the second to last hardest part is that, this is just where you realize that there ain't nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen either way. And it's like, again, like you look at someone say like cancer test results and it's like, you just know that it's gotten so bad. There's nothing more that could have been done. They did everything they could, but again, there's just nothing more that they could do. Sometimes it's just the way it happens in life, or that, you tried so hard to make this work with this person, but there was just no, and you love each other, so that's why you realize that you're better off without each other, to not hurt each other even more. Again, that idea is that this is just something inevitable that you just can't control. And something that, again, you just got to come to terms with. There ain't nothing else you can do. And I don't mean to put that in like overly harsh or sad terms. It's true. It's just nothing more that could have been done. And that's the hardest part, is just knowing that that's the way it's going to be now. Why did it have to be this way? This isn't how it was supposed to be. This can't be the way the story ends. I don't even want to know how the other one begins, if I'm even thinking about it. So yeah, the group basically all try to console each other and try to understand why this had to happen as they start to lament to each other, and the other characters throughout the series all start to come together to tell her goodbye and Again, comfort losing a friend, a fellow cohort in their teenage shenanigans. And Jude lays down a pretty big truth bomb.
No offense, dude, but I think maybe you forget what it's like to be 16. It's like the scariest zombie flick you ever gonna live through. Parents start acting all weird, your face breaks out after eating like 1 small kilo of fries, and suddenly you have a job and a driver's license and chick problems.
That a lot of people just ignore because, oh, teenagers are all assholes. Fuck them. They don't. Teenagers can be assholes, but you got to know where they're coming from with what they're going through in life. It's the most confusing time in your life because you're old enough to know it's your responsibility to figure a situation out, but you're not old enough to understand a damn thing at the same time. You're getting thrown in there blind. No one taught you what to do, and that's what the point of an adult is. They're supposed to show you what to do, how to go throughout life. They're supposed to be your teachers, your mentors, your fucking elder monk characters who basically show you, like, this is the way of this. And when you're not either taught that or, again, no one really shows you how, what are you supposed to do? You're scared to death. You're pissed off. You're so sad. You don't understand what's even going on anymore. This is where life starts to sink in and you realize things aren't always the way I'd hoped they'd be or the way I imagined. And that's one of the hardest parts of growing up. Especially being 16, you know? Because you only got, say, 2 years left. And then responsibility all comes crashing down on you. You ain't a kid anymore. This is all the time you got to really enjoy yourself before things really become tough. And again, they're just so fucking confusing. Especially when you're in love. And I don't mean like horny and you think you're like, and again, no offense you are, but like me and my wife, when we've been together since we were kids, like kids. And again, when those hormones start to pop in, and then, you know, life changes the way it does, nothing makes any fucking sense. You don't know what to do. You don't know why it had to be this way. Again, you don't have to let things get in your way or do that to you, but it doesn't make it any easier. Very few, like Ron the Rent-A-Cop right here, will understand where you're coming from. Very few. And this was a pretty big moment for Ron. Ron was always after the kids and constantly worrying about what they were doing and all their pranks and shenanigans and hijinks, shit like that. But at this point, he finally knew where they were coming from, and for the first time, really felt bad for him. He hated him at first and just wanted him to behave, but now it's like, dude, I totally get it. Dude. In the end, as Nikki's parents decide that maybe moving away probably isn't such a good idea if that's going to hurt their daughter. Like, they don't want to do that to Nikki. That's their child. Her well-being should come first. But Nikki laments that her dad had worked so much for her, worked almost his entire life to get that position, and it wouldn't be right to him. So, willingly making a sacrifice for her parents out of love and telling her friends all thank you for always being there for her no matter what. And sorry things had to be this way, but I'll never forget our time together, and thank you all for always being there for me. I love you all so much. As they all hug and console each other, ready to face the harsh reality that is, but grateful for their time together, as a montage plays them out, as it goes over the different highs and lows of the series, and everything they had been through together. Sad, happy, comical, you name it, it's there. As they all, you know, try to cope with it. Seemingly saying goodbye to Nikki as Nikki boards a plane to leave, as her and Jonesy call each other up and decide they still want to be together before they really make a mistake that could really change everything and make them regret everything they had ever done up until that point for the rest of their lives. They decide to not make the biggest mistake, or hell, as Nikki would put it, undo the biggest mistake of her life, and decide that even if it's got to be long distance, we're going to make this work. They honestly all still love, they both still love each other, as all their friends still love each other. And Jonesy decides that, you know what, maybe things are going to be okay. As everybody around him, as the group does themselves, goes about their everyday lives, as if nothing ever happened. Not a bad way to end the series. Not a bad way. Especially going over a series about growing and aging and just again going through those confusing years of life and making it so comical, but ending with this like idea of just, you know, how hard change can be. But if you don't change some things in your life, how do you ever get anywhere? You can't keep doing the exact same thing your whole life. Some things you can, that's not a bad thing, but some things you do got to change up. You know, you got to do the things you say you're going to do or say you want to do instead of just putting them off like hell I have for so long. You just can't keep putting things off or decide that, keep doing something, expecting the same thing, expecting a different outcome. You do got to shake things up here and there. And as hard as that can be, you'll be surprised that there are good outcomes to that. Sometimes it's hard and you don't know how to handle it because it doesn't feel right to you. It doesn't feel the same. But sometimes you just got to do it if you're to get anywhere. Not like get anywhere in the sense that, like, oh, if you want to live in the fast lane. No, to get where you want to go. Go where be where you want to be in life. Where you want to be, not where they tell you got to be. You do got to shake things up and change a little bit of this here and there. It's not easy, but it's about 9 times out of 10, it's worth it in the end. Not to rhyme there. So yeah. Yeah, dudes. So that was the end of 16. Bye bye, Nikki. Yeah. This one definitely gets you because that's not really something you see coming at the end of a series like this, where it was purely about, revolving around the lives of 6 teenagers as they go through the trials and tribulations of that era of their life, as they do the dumb shit that they do that gets them into trouble, gives them a good laugh, or, hell, God only knows what could have happened. But again, as they go through that and as they, grow and start to become who they are, and you see it in such a comical, over the top, just really dumb in a way, just slice of life kind of way. Know what I'm trying to say there, but yeah. But you never see that ending coming. You know the series will end one day, but you don't always really count on the fact that it's going to go out like that. That it's this two-parter, leaving this in anticipation in between, just thinking what's going to happen next. Like, especially with the first one, pretty much letting you know the harsh reality ahead, and with the ending just getting you right in the heart. Especially when you think about the kids watching it, don't fully realize, or even if they do, like, that's ahead of me. So at least, there's something to look back on to remind you that everything's going to be okay. It's not going to feel that way at first, but it's all good, dude. Change is a good thing sometimes. It's hard, but it is a good thing sometimes. And it doesn't always have to be as hard as you might or someone else might make it out to be. And we don't really get that anymore. And I know I've repeated myself quite a bit in this video, but it bears repeating. It's something that people need to hear, that it's not always as bad as people make it out to be, and you don't have to let it be. And that's pretty much what Nikki and Jonesy did when they decided that they still want to be together, even if it's long distance. One way or another, they'll make this work. They honestly want to try, and that's more than what we get out of most people nowadays with anything. You don't really see TV show finales like this anymore. Like I said, TV shows in general like that. It ended with them, coming to terms with growing apart and like what happens when people, kind of go their own way in life. That doesn't always mean that people quit talking to each other or hell, romance is split apart. It just means that things may not always seem to be the same anymore. It just means that things are just a little bit different. It's hard, but it's worth it in the end, knowing that you made it work. I hope I'm making sense to someone on this one, but you know what I mean. And just like I said before, change is hard, but 9 times out of 10, it's worth it. Trust me. May not seem that way at first, but trust me. Don't miss your shot. And don't be afraid to take a step that you might be afraid to take. Never know what might happen. Never gonna know if you never even try. If you're afraid that making that like what they did, like what Nikki and Jonesy did, and they decide to stay together regardless, if you're so afraid of making it, taking a chance like that, knowing what could happen, I understand. But if you are afraid, that's the point of being brave. Brave doesn't mean you're fearless. Courage does not mean means that you're not afraid of anything. It basically means a will to face that fear. You're still scared shitless, but you're still facing it head on. And to have the courage to do that is what it all means. Is that what this basically is what I'm trying to say. Have the courage to take a step that you could fall on your face on. Again, there's no guarantee that it's going to work, but there's no guarantee that you're going to fall on your face and it's all going to blow up. You might trip, but you can still get back up and it can still be this monumentally awesome thing you always wanted it to be. You never know. But again, do what they did. Take a leap of faith. Be courageous about it. And because some might say, oh, it'll never work, or, it won't work, or it'll fail, or that's what they think. But they're not you. They're not the ones in the situation. They're not the ones taking the leap here. You are. So go on. Do what those two did. Give it a shot. Again, you never know what might happen. You'd be amazed where life can take you sometimes. And in the immortal words of Jude, parfait diem, dudes. So basically, as my last message, I leave you guys with this. Yes, change is hard, like I've been saying over and over and over again in this video. Change is very hard. But again, 9 times out of 10, it's worth it. You never know. Again, so many people are afraid to make a change in their lives, knowing the consequences it could have. Because a lot of time I know consequences aren't always a good thing. They're good consequences, they're bad consequences, and more so than often, it's more bad consequences, mainly on them because it turned out in a way that's like, oh, no, fuck this, no. It's either not what you wanted or just flat out, this just isn't who I am. And honestly, you just fucked everything up in a way that's like, no, like this is not, no. And that's almost either nigh impossible, not even nigh impossible. It could be like it's either extremely difficult or again nigh impossible to come back from. And people are so afraid knowing that, and I've been like this before. You're so afraid of fucking everything up to the point where you can never come back from it. It's scary, it's confusing, and it's heart wrenching so much of the time, and that's why people are afraid of it. But a lot of time, you just got to let go of that fear and just take a leap of faith. Dive through the curtains of the waterfall. You never know what's on the other side. I mean, an actual waterfall that's probably just a stone wall, and you're probably going to hit your head and probably fucking die, either after you have a concussion and you end up drowning, or the blunt force trauma that kills you, but that's besides the point. You get the point, though. Just, again, take a leap of faith. You never know what might happen. Any hero of any great story put all their faith into the notion that they were going to save somebody. They were going to save the world, save the day. And again, there was no guarantee it was going to happen. They took a chance. I mean, yeah, it worked out for them in the end because, well, that was the plot, but still, they still took a chance. They still took a chance and changed, how they were going to do things because most people would have just run away at that point. Or just, said, screw it, not my issue. But the idea was that they basically, again, they put their faith into an idea that would seem ludicrous. The smart thing probably would have been to just walk away and let someone else deal with it. But they decided to, again, do what Jonesy and Nikki did. Give it a shot. You never know what might happen. Especially those heroes who start off as cowards. They made a change they didn't want to have to, but they still did it in the end. And look what they accomplished. I know it may seem scary and I know it may seem nuts, but you'd be amazed what that does for people. Look at Mike Judge. He wasn't even an animator. He was like an engineer and shit. Was even thinking about becoming a math teacher. And then out of nowhere, just started doing little animations one day. Came up with Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, and so many other weird-ass shows. Motherfucker became a millionaire and basically made like so many childhoods. King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead were a massive part of mine, and my dad was pretty much Hank Hill. He didn't sell propane and propane accessories, but still. I mean, but again, look what he did. He did a major change that didn't make any sense to a lot of people, And he looked back and think, why didn't I do this when I was like, because he did it when he was like 27, and he looked back and think, why didn't I do this when I was like 19? Again, you never know what might happen. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to work out perfectly, but again, dude, that's why you got to give it a shot. How are you ever going to know if you never even try? The door just opened. Walk through it. And if you don't feel comfortable, but hey, the door's shut, take a dive through the fucking window. Let's see what else this world has to offer. You know, and sometimes you might need to do something crazy like that. It may not make as much sense, and you might get hurt coming on the way out, but hey, look, dude, you have options now. Now you're out of the house, you're out of that room. You're in an open area, and you can go and see whatever you want to. You can pretty much, there's opportunity everywhere because you made that change. You decided not just to stay in the one place, and you made a change that seemed nuts when you felt like you had no other options. Because you could have just turned right back around and kicked the door down. Go right back to the way you were and start over. But instead, you were already on the path and you decided to make your own. Because you made that change. Again, I'm not saying it wasn't hard. I'm not saying it was easy. You made it though, and look where you're at now. You have a chance. And that's more than enough for some people. So why not you? Again, like I said before, I hope I made sense to someone in this video. Sorry if it seemed kind of choppy, having trouble breathing, and I know what I've been trying to say just doesn't always come out right. So yeah, parfait diem, dudes. Hope you all have a good one, and I hope you're open to change yourself, as scary as it might be. Anyway, this has been Beastly Hero 100, also known as Nathan Burton, also known as Beastly World 100 Heroes. But you call me whatever you want because I know you'll do it anyway. So yeah, guys. Hope you had fun watching this. I hope this got through to you in some way. And for those of you looking back now and looking back on those days watching 16, Stoked, and Total Drama Island during Christmas time or whenever you watched it, maybe again, like I said before, afternoons after school. Who knows? Hope I brought back some fond memories. Especially you, James, and William. If you guys are watching this. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Catch you later, dudes. Hope you liked the video, guys. If you want to see more, click the link in the description, and I hope to see you in my next one. I love you all, you're awesome, and subscribe for more. Alright, catch you next time, everybody.